Hi, Ela. Hi, Annie. I'm glad you people joined in today. It's also the first season's first official masterclass for Sunbeam Masterclass 2025. We onboarded them today, which was absolutely on record time. And when you work with Paul, sir, he knows how to get things done. I know that. I've understood that. And I'm glad we could tie it up all together. So before we begin, and I just want someone in Sunbeam to want to talk or ask us. Just yeah, book is the same. We are reading the book. We are still reading this book, which we started at the Sunbeam School. Some of you attended the session. We are still reading Shomie Das's book, and the book we this year, which follows soon, is this one. So these are the two books. You won't get this book so easily. It's only available in Kindle format. So you can either download it. This book is not sold in India as yet, but we will try and give you as much content available. There's lots of TED Talks available, YouTube material. We'll use all that content when we do the masterclass on productive failure. Anyone wants to talk before I start? I'm glad so many of from the Sunbeam were able to onboard. Thank you. We had some challenge with one or two emails. I think we sorted that out. All your invitations went by email first and then they were resent the second time. Now, how do you plan your master class for the year next? I thought I'd first talk about this. As we stand today, we welcome you all to a new season of 25-26. At the masterclass, which happens every Saturday, our focus is on four things: reading, reflection, relationship, and professional learning. We add the fourth thing. And when you talk of professional learning, as you work with us, you will get to use a lot of open source material. You will be pushed around like Manisha is so many times, made to sweat out, made to innovate, made to learn. Some of you survived last year with us. Thank you for that. And I know towards the end, you just wanted to fill the copybook up and complete the show. So we thought we stressed you too much. So this year we said, in this season, we'll do it better. We will just ask you for 5 submissions throughout the year, nothing more than that. Do them individually. No pressure of making videos, production. Your submissions can happen five any time of the year. So think now, it's the month of March when we are starting. So till next 31st March, find your comfort time. Don't let it happen that in the month of February you have to submit assignments or anything like that. We don't want these to look like assignments. They are your reflections. And when you look into the mirror, what do you see? Your reflection. You smile at it. So don't submit something which makes you feel stressed, bored, unhappy, pushed. Don't send it to us. Everything you send to us, I will personally read. That's my promise to Paul, sir. And if you look at your group, Sunbeam Masterclass in particular, as you all signed up for a certificate program, 47 of you, it's a huge burden on us to make sure that each one of you feels that you've got your money's worth. And rest assured, that will happen. We have enough energy, we have enough resources. There are enough of us who can make you feel as happy teachers. So here we are to our session today, and Gurdeep, as always, has been very kind. She's put together the design for today's session. Today's session is the Education Lab, and you all come at a very interesting time because for us, the biggest education lab is the masterclass. And I think this is interesting because why I call it the education lab. No two sessions are same. Till yesterday, Manisha was used to getting AI notes, and I finally disconnected AI coming into our sessions. But I use AI at my end to facilitate delivery to you. Let me be very honest with you. I started using AI in 2014-15. It's now almost 10 years. So whether you see what you see today as Grammarly, or whether you see today as Otter, or whether you see as Fathom, or whether you see Zoom AI, or whether you see whole lot of assistants from Siri to whatever. I've been talking to Siri for the last 7 8 years. That's AI. So you call it Apple Intelligence now. So I think it's important for you to understand your intelligence makes their intelligence better. So you have the advantage. Use it. And don't get carried away by what they give you as a recycled intelligence. They have a long way to go on learning language models. They will not be able to give you satisfactory answers. And my only humble request to you is please use tools and technology, but don't become slaves of tools and technology. Slavery is negative. आप कोई भी चीज अगर यूज करते हैं उसको इफेक्टिवली यूज कीजिए, बट आत्मनिर्भर बनना जरूरी है. प्रधानमंत्री जी कहते हैं ना, आत्मनिर्भर भारत. डिस्पाइट ऑल द स्ट्रगल्स दैट वी आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन अमेरिका, चाइना, रशिया, वी स्टिल ड्रीम ऑफ आत्मनिर्भर भारत. I dream of an Atmanirbhar teacher in each one of you. And that's what India needs. India doesn't need Atmanirbhar Bharat. India needs every teacher who's Atmanirbhar. And when every teacher becomes Atmanirbhar, you'll have happy teachers and joy of learning will pervade. On that note, let's discover how joy of learning pervades. So let me just see. Here we are. We are ready. Here we go. So today we will check out what is the education lab. At this time, I'm a little heavy hearted because last Sunday, 16th of March, we actually celebrated Shomie's life. And Shomie passed away last year, sometime in November. He had family across the globe. So they decided that we will meet one day and celebrate his 89 years. Shomie, starting from Gordonston, which was where he learned to become a teacher, went on to Mayo, went on to Lawrence, went on to Doon School, went down south, settled in Hyderabad, and set up Oak Ridge. And what he did in his life, and he said it, we learn to learn. And that's how the joy of learning happens. So teachers must learn to learn. So let us see what the education lab has in store for us. Now, as we always do before we go to the education lab, we also refer to our last week. So I'm simply going to share a tab for you. That's the Teachers Academy. In the Teachers Academy, so much happens in a week that I have to scroll way down for the posts. Gurdeep, I've got your message. I'll just do it. So when we go down, you will see lots of posts in this week. We met yesterday in a session which is called Brewing Knowledge Friday. So Brewing Knowledge Friday happens at 5:30 p.m. like at 5:30 p.m. today. 5:30 p.m. for us is Indian Standard Learning Time. You had heard of Indian Standard Time? For us, it is Indian Standard Learning Time. So remember, ISLT in India is 5:30 p.m. So yesterday's session is here. We talked about literally creating a school that educates and inspires, driven by a powerful vision and mission. So we were reading this book yesterday. You will hear more about it. Please subscribe to our newsletter. Now, whatever we do in the week on Saturday, Friday, and Thursday, all gets very well covered in our weekly. How do you get to the weekly? Okay, so you won't see a page like this. You will see a page like this. The weekly is goodschoolsindia.in, gsi.in. Please go to the page. You'll find a subscribe button. You won't find it here because I have the dashboard open. And every week we produced one edition like this. So if you see what we did on Thursday last week is here with a little summary and recording, link to the text. Friday, recording, link to the text. Saturday masterclass, last one, which you may have missed. Last Saturday, we actually talked about Oak Ridge campus. We talked about the Scottish incubator. So do check that out in case you want to meet in case you haven't done. So you can play the videos. Our videos are available on a channel on YouTube, My Good School. And then finally, what happened on Sundays. So this will come to your mailbox provided you sign up for the newsletter. It's optional. Please do so. So here we are at the Teachers Academy. This is our blog. We're trying to see where we were last week. Let's see how we get there. We've actually ended up on the Friday session. So do join the Friday session if you wish to. Let me go. Okay. I will not do it like this. So what I will do is I will put this tab off. We will talk about it later. We will now start today's session. And when we review the blog, we will talk about the last session and today's session together. So let's get going with today's most important part, the education lab. Shomie joined Mayo College as principal in 1968. Let me open the gate at 1968. Okay, I need to open the gate. My panelist has used a link of a participant. Panelist, you do get links in your email to join us as panelists. Please use those. So I welcome on my panel Manisha Khanna. She is our GSA ambassador. She is the face of the Good School Alliance. And second person I welcome today as our panelist is Gurdeep Kaur. Gurdeep Kaur, please use the panelist link to join and not the participants link to join.
Yes,
Then you can come in as a panelist yourself.
yes, yes, sir.
And then don't knock at the door when I'm in the session because
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Sorry, sir, to bother you. Yeah.
and then Kunal is also here. Kunal, don't show your face because we know you have limited connectivity and our frames are full with people who are aspiring and leading us. So thank you so much. This is the panel for today. We will do the education lab. The education lab is going to be on your screen in a moment. Then we will do a review of the session and give you continuity in the book from the last chapter to this chapter. You can think about it. Yes, if you feel you want to reflect more than 5 times in a year, please do. You can reflect every week, but we expect 5 submissions for you to get a certificate. That's only to get a certificate. But if you want to learn, please reflect every week. Now, there's a difference in submitting for a certificate and the difference in the joy of learning. And today morning, when Manisha wrote a story, it was joy of learning. But last week, when Manisha was putting up Otter AI stuff, that was completion for certification. So, Gurdeep, for your good news, now the AI agents won't come inside because they can't register for the webinar. So, humans will come here. So, it's space for humans. So, thank you so much. Thank you for the lovely evening. So, do you see the education lab? Once again, the education lab. Shomie joined Mayo College as principal in 1968, following the call from his former teacher, Jack Gibson. It was the beginning of a new chapter in his life, and that would set the ball rolling towards our eventual convergence. Although that would be another 3 decades away. But the stage had been set. If Gibson had not made that phone call, Shomie may have remained in Gordonston. Had that happened, there would have been no Oak Ridge. Because Oak Ridge happens after Shomie's tenure at Mayo, Lawrence, Doon. He retires, is invited to Hyderabad, and Oak Ridge starts. This is what I meant by a parallel back and forth narrative. When I began this biographical account, because this is essentially one story of Shomie's development as an educator and his conception of Oak Ridge and of how Raj and I facilitated that. Coming back to Shomie's 6 year stint at Mayo, it would be the first laboratory where he would test out the ideas he had picked up at Gordonston. Let's figure out what tests he did becoming a teacher. Here was a new chapter in my life. I was young, all of 33. He became principal of Mayo at 33, brimming with ideas. And here was a school which, though was very good, was antediluvian. Sorry, in many ways. Okay. So we've used the word here antediluvian. In the chat box, I want someone to tell us what antediluvian is. I know we can see it here, but someone should find it and tell us. Put it in the chat box, please. Which was antediluvian in many ways. Shomie recalled one day as we talked about his days in Mayo, at Mayo. It was a freewheeling afternoon of reminiscences, one of the many we have had since we met at Dehradun, in a providential visit to the city in the Himalayan foothills. I am there at the moment. It must have been a great honor, Shomi, to get the call from Mr. Gibson, I said, bringing up the topic. A great honor and privilege, NP, he replied. I sent my family home and then went straight to Mayo College. I joined them after completing my term at Gordonston as head of physics. Shomi smiled. Sorry, what was your first impression of Mayo? Shomi smiled as he gathered his thoughts. The school had old fashioned ideas, somewhat like Tom Brown's school days kind. But I was impressed with the staff and boys, which meant I had the material with me to start changing things. It took me a little while to understand the mechanics of the school, but when I did, the first thing I did was to give the senior boys more freedom to take decisions on their own. So, this is the first la- learning lab, education lab experiment. Give more freedom to senior students. So today you have your prefectorials, today you have your senior staff, boys who handle a whole lot of duties with teachers and students, others who create societies, clubs. So this is the whole idea. Give them more freedom to lead. Shomi had started with adventure training as he tried to bring in more at outdoor activities. He also wanted the students to get into more project work. And since he was keen in electronics himself, he set up an electronic lab and started new methods of teaching science. Remember, this is the 1960s, and today we are in 2020s. We still talk the same thing. In the 6 years he was at Mayo College from 1968 to 1974, Shomi made a few interesting changes in the academics basically. While the structure remained the same, he tried to change the attitude of the teachers and making learning more interesting, liberal, and more inquiring. So, this is where we are. What he focused on, make learning more interesting. This was his key focus. So, this is about learning to learn, more inquiring. And I've been mentioning this week at various forums, if you can get hygiene correct in the school, and if you can get curiosity germinating in every corner, that's the good school. Hygiene and curiosity. I've distilled schooling down to two things: hygiene and curiosity. If a school is able to offer the best in class of hygiene and curiosity, that's a good school. Most of the students were children of defense staff and railway employees, etc. with their parents in transferable jobs. A large number were children of Rajput princes, and that was one group Shomie recalled, dipping yet into his vast reservoir of memory. Recently, I went to the 50th year of my first batch, the 1969 batch. It was interesting to see that there were lieutenant generals, and senior army officers. It just so happens that Lieutenant General Kulkarni, who is just retired as his director of the school, was the 69 batch of Mayo College. And there were bureaucrats and people from various levels. I was delighted to actually see this group. They were my first lot. So he doesn't talk much about Mayo years in this book. And Mayo for him, if I can recollect with my conversation for Shomie, was just a stepping stone. Where Shomie became Shomie was the scenarios, because Sanar is where he actually put in place the major bit of transformations. That was a school which he built to his dream school. Again, Sanar was a 100-year-old school, and working with these old legacy schools is not easy. The scenarios. Shomie left Mayo in 1974 after a serious disagreement with the Board of Governors regarding staff salaries and staff terms and conditions. He felt the school was charging a pittance from the students, which was creating problems when it came to upgrading the institute. Shomie was without a job for some times when he got a call one day. The person on the other end was the education secretary in the central government. The bureaucrat told Shomie that the headmaster's post in a boarding school in Sanar, Himachal Pradesh was vacant and asked him if he could be interested in the job. The vacancy was at the Lawrence School, one of the oldest and most prestigious boarding schools in Asia. Although an autonomous society, it was still governed by the Union Education Ministry, and the chairperson was always an incumbent Secretary of Education. I was excited, but I had one condition. I would not go for an interview, Shomi said. They agreed, saying I had to come and meet the Board of Governors. So I went to the Education Ministry and met the board. It so happened half of them knew my father, and it became a bit of a conversation that had nothing to do with the school. They offered me the job, and I went off with my family in an open jeep all the way to Sanawar. I never regretted going there. How hard was it to leave Mayo? I was not upset when I left Mayo, Shomi replied, but I felt maybe I had been a bit too impetuous. Please check out why he felt impetuous, and maybe you could put something in the chat. The school in Sanar was designed for children of those who work for the Army and the Navy. It had started as the Lawrence Royal Military Asylum for children of senior officers who could not educate the wards in England. An indication of how famous it was comes in Rudyard Kipling's novel Kim, where one of the characters tells the eponymous young protagonist, the Irish orphan Kim, "We will make a man of you at Sanar." Shomi has fond memories of the school, and not only because of the picturesque view it offered from its 600-foot high perch on a hilltop. Those were the most wonderful years, though the school had its own systems because of its military background. I realized that I needed to continue with some of the old traditions and not upset the apple cart. This is something I learned after my experience at Mayo College. They had a ceremony called Trooping the Color, basically a parade in recognition of the fact that it was a military school. In the olden days, the students would naturally join the military, though fewer students do that now. I was excited. Sorry. The first change Shomi brought to the school was to make it less regimented. considering that the students were constantly marching. The second thing he did was to make it a proper co-education school. Boys and girls would attend the same class, but that is where it ended. There was no socializing between them except in the classroom. They would even eat their lunch at separate tables. Then I decided to build a larger dining hall so that the girls and boys could eat together. I felt eating together had a socializing effect. I got the first donation of rupees 1 lakh from Ronak Singh, a parent, and built the beautiful dining hall. It is now called Ronak Hall. That was one of the first steps I took to make the school more liberal. Then I started reducing the regimentation, but gradually. There was a lot of resistance, not so much from old boys, but from the staff. Senior staff found it sacrilegious. Let's reflect on this paragraph. So, whenever change happens, we are put into some discomfort. When weather changes, we'll feel cold, we'll feel hot, then we'll adapt. So, likewise, whenever a change is brought about in an institution, people who are used to what happens there, please reflect, find it hard. But remember, change is the only constant. Look at yourself in the mirror. Change is the only constant. Developing leadership. Another key change Shomie would bring in at Sana was what he called the pattern of thinking. I realized that the teachers were not seekers of knowledge. Pay attention here. They did what they were told. I had to change the pattern of thinking. I also brought lots of changes in how students could develop leadership. One of the things I did was to send them on camps for 6 days, where they would go with a teacher on a pre planned route. In America, they will say route. It could be trekking, climbing, etc. For Sana, this was probably the first experience of this kind. Earlier, they would have camps where students would live in a tent without any sense of adventure or bonding, and no one would show any sense of leadership. Remember what Kurt Hahn had said? Kurt Hahn was at Gordonston, where Shomie actually learned the Scottish incubator. That's where he learned the methods of good learning. That's where his training was as a teacher. He learned to become a teacher at Gordonston, and Kurt Hahn was the one who set up Gordonston. Always put children at risk to their own lives. Always put children at risk to their own lives. This is how you develop leadership. I also introduced a lot more responsibility. I gave every child in class 12, sorry, 12 responsibilities so they could learn what to do in a community as a senior. So, someone was to put in charge of the school hospital. She or he would go every day to the hospital to check on those admitted and check if they were being fed. Similarly, I put students in charge of the dining room and library. Every year, I would rotate the responsibilities so that everyone had a hand in everything. It was a novel idea which I tried. So, look at the education lab experiments that are happening. Element of risk, an element of involving them in the operations. Isn't this experiential learning? Shomie enjoyed the complete freedom he had in running the school. You know, I even started a mushroom farm and a chicken farm for the boys. I started showing them how they could produce biogas. We use the biogas for cooking, for street lighting, and all sorts of things. Then I got into serious trouble when the government found out that I was selling the mushrooms and eggs and not paying sales tax. Oh gosh, that was serious trouble. Only those incorrigibly serious would have missed the glint in Shomie's eyes. He had another run in with the authorities, which was truly serious and could have landed him in real trouble. The school, Shomie explained, was a military school owned by the Ministry of Defense. When the Defense Ministry handed over the school to the Education Ministry sometime in 1946 47, It had transferred all the guns and weapons to it. These were real weapons, and we would carry them while marching up and down, like young soldiers as part of NCC training. Then, in 1975, Indira Gandhi imposed emergency. That was the time when police would conduct searches and check everyone for arms. It was one such search that they found this cache of 180 weapons. The school did not even have a license to hold the weapons, though they were there when the school started. They wanted to arrest me. I told them I had nothing to do with the weapons, but the situation was serious. Even newspaper carried stories saying that the weapons had been found in the school. Fortunately, the Union Home Ministry's daughter was a student of our school. When I rang up the bureaucrat, he complained that I had got him in a fix. We eventually got out of the mess, but for a while I was truly scared. Shomie would remain in Sinar for 14 years. Then one day, L.M. Thapar, the chairman of Doon School, called Shomie and asked him to come over to Rishikesh. Shomie met Thapar at the chairman's holiday home. As they chatted, Thapar suddenly sprang the offer. I would like you to take over the headship of Doon at Doon. To which Shomie, it was an offer Shomie could not refuse. So this is interesting. Now let's go back to the education lab and let's flip a few pages. I've added a bookmark here, Gurdeep. So next week's reading will be Map of Success. Is that good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thank you so much for all the support you give us. On this note, I think on this browser only I will open teacher's blog. Yeah. So we have today completed the education lab. And what are the takeaways from the education lab? We will do that definitely. But before we do the takeaways from the education lab, I thought I will do two, three things to initiate our class of 7th Sunbeam Masterclass 25. And for those who are here, to humbly request them, please make better use of the resources you have here. We can do a lot together, provided you make use of what we offer to you. We can do a lot together, provided you follow the design of learning and focus on learning to learn. So here we are at the Teachers Academy. We were browsing this blog a little while back. You suddenly see a new post come up. So just come up. It comes at 6 p.m. on a Saturday, right in the middle of the master class. So while you were going through that, there were questions coming up, there were thoughts coming up. We had Gurdi putting them together, and she's done a fantastic job. So before this, I was referring to Hum Honge Kamyab. This was last Friday's reading. It's a reflection by our fellow analyst Kunal, who's also a panelist here. Kunal, very well done. You tried to explain the meaning of vision. And when you said Hum Honge Kamyab is the vision of an institution, I thought that is a great reflection from you. So please read Kunal's reflection whenever you get time, and more than that, please leave a comment here. I'm sure you'll appreciate what Konal has written. Maybe that you could write. You could even write what you feel about a vision or mission. You, as a teacher, could write about whatever you take away from that, whatever thought comes to you. So I go back to the blog archives and I am going to head to our last session, which was Turmoil to Triumph. Is that right, Gurdeep?
Yes, sir.
That was the last session,
15th
right?
March. Yeah, March 15th.
Yeah. So when we were here last week, let's see where we left and how we walked into the education lab. So last week we heard the story from Naga, how they went through setbacks and struggles in setting up their school, and how Shomie actually stood by them. Shomie, by the way, spent almost 25 years in Hyderabad, and he was chairman of People Combined. The firm Raj and Naga run even today. So, three, four important questions came up when we were here last week. How can educators empower students? Now, this Shomie has shown today in the education lab how he could empower the students, what he could do. Miracles happen when people trust in their abilities. So when people trust Shomie, they trusted him with Sanar, miracle happened. So in the education lab, you see a miracle. Yes, there are setbacks and struggles when you have to fight old customs, when you have to come over resistance. Example I will give you, Shomie made the school co-ed, and Doon has been thinking of becoming co-ed for the last 50 years. And today there's serious discussion that Doon School should become co-ed. Well, should or would, I can't tell you. I can't comment. It's not fair because I'm inside the organization. But it's taking us so long to get over this thought of becoming co-ed school, while Shomi could push it in his tenure and do it there. So that's the how he struggled and put it right. So then it goes on to say is we are at the right time, in the right place, and the right field. Now you as a teacher, please appreciate you are here at the right time, you're at the right place, and you're in the right field. And together we'll do things together. So thank you. Last time we had a lot of encouraging notes from you in chats. Thank you everyone for your encouragement and all the wows and messages. Thank you so much. If you want to replay the last session, it is very easy. It is there on the blog. You can play it. It focuses on turmoil over triumph. Now let's go back to what's in store today. So today we have reflected on the education lab. Would you like to step in now, Gurdeep?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I'll
Over
read
to you.
question number one.
Yeah.
So true leadership is not about authority, but about responsibility. Shomi Das believed in giving students real responsibilities, whether managing a school facility or leading an expedition. As educators, we are not just imparting knowledge, but shaping future leaders. So the question is to reflect upon how can we integrate leadership building opportunities in everyday teaching to help students take ownership of their learning and growth?
Pause. So, if you think you have an answer for this, or you want to tell us what your school does about this, what I'm talking of is exactly this. How can we integrate leadership building opportunities? And you want to answer this, press comments here and write here. That's your reflection. As simple as that. And I think, like you expect us to read and be honest with you, we would like you to reflect here and be honest with yourself. So it's important for you to reflect. And sometimes when you realize you have reflection of larger numbers, that could be your submission paper. And a submission paper should be authentic. It should have data. It should have examples. It shouldn't be just notes from the chapter. So whenever you are ready, once you have read some submissions on our posts, another interesting place where you can read a lot of submissions is our blog. I will show that to you, which we refer to on Fridays. Please make your paper authentic. It's like publishing in a professional journal. So the 5 submissions better be good. Sorry, I'm saying it so sternly. But you should start commenting here. And after you comment, whatever you write your school and your name. Please do that. So that was question one. Over to you, Gurdeep.
Question number two. Always challenge children to take risk and navigate their own lives, said by Kurt Hahn. Shomi emphasized hands on learning through outdoor camps, projects, and community work. He knew that learning happens beyond textbooks and in real world experiences. How can we design learning experiences that push students out of their comfort zones while ensuring meaningful growth and resilience?
Brilliant. So, how do we do this? I'll give you an example. We go to the My Good School retreat twice a year, and we live on the edge of a jungle. We do things which students normally would not do in a school. So, that's an example. And this is coming up very soon on 11th April. A lot of the students from Sunbeam and teachers are joining us. We are looking forward to it. We'll be challenging your children to take risks and navigate their lives, as Gerthan says. Next question, please.
The purpose of education is not just to fill minds, but to ignite them. Shomie believed that education should be liberal, inquiry driven, and dynamic. He challenged students and teachers alike to think beyond set patterns. How can we cultivate a classroom culture that encourages curiosity, critical thinking, and independent learning among students?
Brilliant. So the question is right here. You tell us how you do this, and how you do that is again go down to the comment box and write about it. As simple as that. You don't have to do any submissions, you don't have to do anything else. Just comment here. Please don't comment in the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group is more for administration and processing. The comments and the reflections must come here. And if you have 3, 4 reflections which we find add up to a post, we will create a post for you here. Yes, if you want to create a post of all your reflections, you can email your post to an address here which is mentioned right here. Connect with us. You will find an address there. You can email here or you can email to Manisha. We will write her address down in the post today. She will mention her address in the chat. She's only available on email. For those of you who have been in touch with Manisha for the last 6, 7 months, I wish you will respect that she now does a job in the daytime and she's only available for communication post 4 p.m. So do have your patience when you write to her. She's very particular. And if you want to call her on a WhatsApp call or something, please do it after 4 p.m. She has a job like you have. She may not have access to her phone. So you can send the blogs to her like you used to. You can send the blogs to us. We love publishing your blog posts. Don't think of them as 5 assignments. You may create those 5 professional papers for your certificate at your comfort, but keep reflecting. Next question.
Question number 4. Adaptability is a cornerstone of educational progress. Shomidas navigated challenges, whether modernizing schools, introducing co education, or handling unexpected crises. His ability to adapt while staying true to his educational vision made a lasting impact. How can we, as educators, embrace adaptability in our teaching methods to cater to the evolving needs of students and the changing world?
So that's the next question. You are educators. You know what adaptability means. In your teaching methods, you have to adapt your teaching method so that every child learns. I have a little graphic here. Customized learning programs for teachers. That's the effort we try and do, and that's the way you have to work in your class. If you need any one to one guidance, because you're from the Sunbeam School, you're welcome to do that. But if you do have something which you feel will create a discussion for your school in your group, you have your own WhatsApp group. It's called Sunbeam Masterclass 2025. Paul sir has put that together. Please have your conversations there. We have our experts in your group. We will do our best to answer your questions. Just a little while back, I also put in a note there. Read that note, which explains my duty and responsibility as a coach to your school. I've taken a commitment that I will serve your school as a school coach for a year. Your schools, not school. So, Sunbeam Group, I'm really indebted to you that you have chosen me to serve. So, please give me the opportunity to serve you, to hold your hand, and to win your heart, because the teacher's role is to win hearts, and that's why our website is known as diljito.com. So after the next half an hour or so, this post which she has written, Gurdeep, thank you for that. We will add below this where you can send a blog post, and we will also embed a recording of this session. Now, when I go to the last blog post, you will see the recording and chat here. This is embedded when this session is finished. So we will do that. We will embed more content in this very blog, update it. So by about 7 p.m., this blog will be updated with the video. Now, where you find these videos is very simple. You can go to YouTube. Okay, I've ended up on the channel. So if I go to last week's, do you get the audio?
No, sir.
Do you get the audio? Do you get the
Yes.
audio of the video? So you find all the videos here, the recordings of all the sessions. Yeah. You find all the videos here on the channel. And before, where Gurdeep was reading, sorry, I didn't change the tab, I think. Gurdeep,
So
did
it's
I change
Happy
that?
Teachers. Yeah, we can see Happy Teachers blog right now. Teachers
Yeah,
Academy, huh? Hmm.
there's a category. So this is where you read from.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we will complete the post like this. Now, if you go to YouTube, I will share the YouTube chat tab. It's ready.
Mm.
This is where you will find your posts. So let us say last post of last masterclass, which was turmoil over triumph. You will find it here.
Mm.
You will find all our posts since we last met at Sunbeam School in December. They're all here. You'll find all your posts of the masterclass which you have created in the last 1 year. This is phenomenal resource. Do use it, and we thank you so much for creating this beautiful resource. So that's the YouTube channel, that's the blog, and we are back in the room. Questions? Let's look at what the chat says. Yeah, there's a question here. Is there any feedback form for participation certificate? No, not really. You don't need a form. Once you do your 5 research papers or your writings, just submit them to us. We'll help you put them in a publishing form. That's the only thing we need. And it's a pure self assessment. You can pick up an A4 paper and write in pen. This is what I learned in the year. I entered at this step and I exited at this step. That's all we want. There is no format, it's freedom. There is, see, understand how Shomie said, liberty to learn. So he went to a military school, it had all the formats, but learning to learn was not there. See, filling formats is easy. I'll give you a questionnaire, you'll tick a few things, and that's a format. But what do I do with a format? You are an individual you, and your individual you must flower. That's the whole idea. No format can help us capture your joy of learning. No format can help us do any assessment. Doing assessments in a summative manner never works, but doing assessment in a formative manner is love of labor. That's how we work at the Teachers Academy. Thank you, Priyanka. We've answered your question. I will anyway, what I will do, we will pick up this chat and we will add this chat to our blog post. I'll do that right now in front of you. Before we go. So you will learn what's happening. I think that's a nice way of doing it. So we're at the masterclass. I will share my screen. Okay. I will go to the Chrome tab. I will go to the blogger share. So this is where we are. Do you see my blogger screen, Gurdeep?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yeah. So I will open to the Teachers Academy. This is the blog you had put together this morning or this evening or through the session. I need to do two things here like I promised. So I actually got this. But I will not do it like this because this way it won't do well. So I will use another trick. Edit, paste and match style. See what happened. All I do after that is I look at it this way and I say, what can I do? Now I am using AI in front of you. Okay, so I'm using AI in front of you. But I just need to make some corrections, and that's all I need to do. Okay, so that's it. And I'll update in front of you. I will also do this and I will create a hyperlink to it. So when you press it, well, my help, my assistant adds some improvements and some bells and whistles. Yeah, some people like writing sir with small. I like writing sir with a capital because it's addressed to that one particular person whom you're calling sir. It's not general to dear sir and dear ma'am like you'll be writing in a correspondence. So that's how I did that. Now what I will do is let's see how I'm trying to brighten this a little. So I'll make this bold and then we will add here chat from the session to show we actually had a session and that's what you wrote. So next time maybe you write a little more in the chat. So I'll format it a little, I'll put this in the center so that it separates from the blog, and then I will do Ila Gotham, and then I will do Priyanka Singh, and then I will do Manisha. So I'll just highlight the names. It just feels good to honor them, respect them, love them, and it breaks the monotony of the content. So whatever we promised, we have actually shared here. I will go here and increase the font size a little so that this stands out. Maybe I will format it still a little better and put a little line below it so chat shows out. Now, next, what I will do is in the next few minutes, embed the video below this. I will update the blog and I will show you what we have just done. So this is your lesson in blogging for those of you with something new. So the content has come here and you can put your comments here. That was a little lesson in professional learning beyond reading, reflection. That was a professional learning element. Over to you, Gurdeep, and then Manisha.
So I was looking at you like how you are managing everything, like putting like posting everything there. So I was learning. Beyond reading, we are learning these things also these days, how to use AI in our daily lives.
You know, I made my first blog in 2009.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I am today 65.
Now we cannot escape like ourselves from technology. We have to use it like
Absolutely.
need of an hour. Yeah.
And I'm willing to really tell everyone that even today, every evening, I explore a new app. It's in my diary कि आज मैं एक नया feature software का नया app जरूर ढूंढूंगा. I don't sleep without that. And similarly, when I get up in the morning, I read a chapter of a new book. By the way, currently I'm reading Yogananda Paramahansa, autobiography for yogi, and I'm getting carried away to read that in my next Friday reading. So I'm hoping when my good school finishes, we will read autobiography of a yogi. Please join us if you want. That's my fanciful book for next reading on brewing knowledge. Our next reading on Sunday is also very exciting. We are moving from the inner life of animals to the inner life of nature. This is the book by the same author, Peter Warnben. It's his third book. And you have a very nice message. Thank you for the idea to grow knowledge. Thank you. Life is brewing knowledge. That's why we are here. Thank you for that message. Over to you, Manisha.
As we come to the end of today's reading session, I hope you all have enjoyed the journey through the pages we have explored together. Reading not only opens door to new world, but also deepens our understanding. So I'm really grateful to Sandeep sir that I've learned under him so many things, and because of that, I'm still here for learning to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So let's meet next week together, everyone, all of us. And before that, I would be grateful if you all write the reflections below our post, and we all encourage you to carry the stories and insights you have encountered today.
Thank you. From three of us, three cheers for you.